Everybody, welcome to our second social media and libraries workshop. I want to thank you all for coming again. So my name is Ashley. I am the currently sitting secretary of the ALIA Queensland group, and I am here to just do our welcome to country and then introduce our wonderful presenter today from Link Marketing. So I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the various lands in which we all are coming from today, and to acknowledge the owners of this land and their elders from past, present, and future. As we are all coming from multiple different parts of Australia, I know that collectively the First Nations people were always a collaborative people and love to share information between them. So it feels right that we are boostering that today by all coming from different sectors. So again, thank you all for coming. And I'm now going to pass off to our wonderful presenter today from Link Marketing. And we say thank you again for partnering with us for this great event. This is Hazel, everybody.
Hello, everyone. I
No.
hope you're all having a good Friday wherever you're from in Australia right now. I'm currently based in Brisbane, so it's just the end of the day for us. I'm very excited and nervous about today. Full disclaimer, I might be going through a little bout of anxiety, so please bear with me if I fumble through my words. I don't normally do public speaking events like this, but I am just going to be really brave today and hopefully deliver some value to you and your community. Just checking everyone can hear me all right. I've got the recording running, so that's great. So without further ado, I'm just gonna share my screen. We're gonna run a really nice, relaxed session, hopefully for myself. And then at the end of the session, we might just do a quick Q&A, and I'll open up the floor to any questions you might have. All right, perfect. So just bear with me. I'm just gonna share my screen here. Is that all good? Yep. Okay, cool. Beautiful. Again, thank you all for taking the time. Just today's the second workshop. If any of you might have been part of the first workshop that my colleague David would have run last week. So today's session would be designed for social media. So the first workshop that you would have had with David would have been quite intense and a bit of a very technical side behind the scenes of how social media ads and campaigns run. So today's session is more of the creative side of the front end of what your users and your audience see. Okay, so some of the agenda, I'm going to keep it really nice and simple today, just only because I guess I'm not too sure if it's if the same for everyone, but social media can be pretty overwhelming. So I want to keep it nice and simple. We're going to go into what is Canva, where to start, some quick hacks, and I'm going to share some free tools and resources that hopefully you can take on from today and implement. All right. So, quick introduction. You might recognize David from our first workshop there in the photo, and I'm just smack in the middle with the little team here. We are a Brisbane-based creative studio. We're a very tight-knit crew of experts in different lanes. So we've got our art director who does all the creative design, our copywriter and brand strategist, and a web developer, as well as my tech support as well in the team. A lot of our design work and creative work is strategy based. So we always have strategy behind every design decision that we make. So we're not designing for the sake of making things pretty, but everything has a reason behind all of it. And I guess personally myself, I've been with Link for 10 years now, and I'm the team manager managing the workflow of the overall team. Yep, so that's just in a little nutshell. Some of the work that we've been involved in, we enjoy collaborating with businesses of all shapes and sizes. So that includes startups, not-for-profits are one of my favorites. I'm very passionate about helping not-for-profits, local businesses, and international corporate firms as well. Most of our clientele at the moment focuses more on professional services, so other accountants, law firms, industrial businesses around. And if you have the time, feel free to have a look at our website. Our website, creative.link.com.au. Have a browse around to get a feel of us. Yeah. All right. Okay. So straight into it. So today's focus would be on Canva. I'm not sure if any of you might be familiar with Canva, but it's been around for a while. Link ourselves as an agency, we've started using and exploring and experimenting with Canva pretty much about the time that they started as well. So that's been a couple of years. And I can definitely vouch, being a Canva user myself, we've seen great, massive, significant changes and upgrades in their platform. Um, I probably should explain. So Canva is an easy to use online tool that helps you create visual content. It's super, super user friendly because it uses a drag and drop function, and you don't have to have crazy design background because that's what Canva is for. It sort of like takes off all that guesswork and pre-designs templates for you to pick and choose from. We primarily use Canva and recommend using Canva for starters to create social media posts, presentations, including this presentation. Actually, this is purely on Canva. So this is crazy that this is a Canva template. So this is the extent that they've grown since starting, and documents and more. So even after today's session, we are focusing on social media posts. But even if you don't end up using Canva to create social media posts, it's still an amazing tool if you want to use it for presentations, especially, or any other collaterals, brand rollouts that you want to print out and share to the audience. And like I mentioned, the biggest benefit of using Canva is the drag and drop. It's so simple, it's so easy, it's so fast. You don't even have to have any design experience or come from a design background or have graphic design experience in the past. Um, Let me just so honestly, especially for a non-Adobe user, I can confidently say Canva is pretty up there with rivaling Adobe. Obviously, Adobe is a professional tool for graphic designers in our industry, but Canva is getting up pretty up there because most recently with the AI tools coming into play, even with a free account, there are Canva AI tools being built in. So you can already access that on a free account, which I'll go through in the next slide. There's also a wider selection of stock photos being added to Canva very frequently. So again, even if you don't end up using it for social media, it's still a great tool for anyone that needs any creative elements or collateral in their business. All right, perfect. Please, if anyone feels like I'm going too fast, I don't have the video up with the user's profile popping up, so just voice out if I'm going too fast as well, Ashley.
Now you're going at a good speed.
All right, perfect. Okay, so just to give you an idea between the difference between the free and pro account with Canva, um, top of the priority, I would always recommend always start with the free account anyways. You don't necessarily have to have a paid account to get, well, not unless you need extensive use of the features, but just going down the free column where it's not going to cost you anything at all. If you just open up a Canva account today, you already would have access to about over 1.6 million free templates to get started. The only difference between the free and the pro is that the pro would be a wider selection of more premium templates, and they've got much more higher end looking design. So I can't remember if the template that I'm using from today's presentation is from a paid version or not, but it gives you an idea of what it can do for you. In terms of stock library, when I say stock library, we're talking about stock photos, videos, graphics, and audio. The free account obviously lets you access the free open source assets. And then the pro account gives you more of the licensed assets. So you get higher quality photos. But I do have a workaround that later down in our free tools and resources. So hang 10 on that. Other things to consider in the free account in terms of tools, like I mentioned, there's already AI tools being built into Canva. So it's amazing how you can throw in an image and upload an image into Canva, and they'll just mock it up and make it look like it's on a TV screen or it's on a laptop or a mobile device. So basic tools itself is amazing. The only difference as well, again, with the Pro, there's a more higher function in the AI tool where you can morph images, or when you upload an image and you want to remove the background, that's what the Pro account can do. There's also an option where if you are uploading a square image, you can ask AI to expand the background and add things in the background to make it look like it's a wider image. So yeah, that's the most obvious difference. Apart from storage, 5 GB is still a lot of storage for cloud storage if you're using the free account. I would recommend, if you do end up maxing out, it's just a matter of archiving or deleting any old templates or designs that you no longer need and just making up space. So yeah, pretty much like if you're maxing out on your iPhone photo album, it's just a matter of getting rid of the old photos or any photos that you don't want just to make up storage for the new ones. Yeah, on to the next one. All right. So this is where the fun begins. Where to start? Um, First recommendation from a design company ourselves, we would recommend Instagram. Instagram, probably because it's one of the most popular and most consumed social media platform, as you would all know as well. Um, Instagram is a visual first platform. So what it means is that right off the bat, all you're seeing is just visuals on visuals on visuals on a grid system on your feed when you're scrolling. So you know how people say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. It's human psychology that you absorb more information in a single image than reading an entire caption. It also works really well for templates and repeatable content formats. And Canva is a great player in this because Canva has great templates for social media. It's built a beautiful library of templates you can start from over the years. Instagram is also a strong platform for announcements, event promotion, carousel stories, and short form video. So I'll dive a little bit more into the formats in the next few slides. Right. Okay. Now, the biggest thing, I wouldn't say an issue, but as with any technology out there in the world, things are constantly changing, including Instagram. So I'm not sure how long everyone's been on Instagram, but if you notice in the last few years, I would say Instagram's introduced so many changes on and on and on, and it's a little hard to keep up. Um, Instagram was traditionally, if you might remember, they started with square posts and square photos. And then in the last recent years, they've just sneakily started introducing and sort of forcing everyone to default into a portrait grid. So, what that means is that what you think you're posting is a square image, everyone else will see cropped as a portrait. So the aspect ratios have changed in the grid. There's also been a weird period where they forced everyone to a portrait and then back to a square and then back to a portrait again. But as of now, it looks like it's staying. Again, I'll show you a few examples with what I mean visually. They've also introduced in the last few years new formats for people to consume even more information. And I'm talking about getting more engaging interactions through carousels, which is like a slideshow where you have multiple images or slides in one single post, videos, stories, and reels. So, our biggest advice for anyone out there trying to keep up with Instagram is, the goal is not to chase every update, but to try and design your post with flexibility. And I'll have a little demo as well in a bit. All right, so just to keep up with what Instagram is now, this is what Instagram is as of today. I can't promise what's going to happen over the weekend. They might introduce something crazy. But as of today, Instagram right now comes in different formats. So a feed post right now comes in the 3:4 aspect ratio. So that's in pixel dimensions. And I'm sorry if I'm getting too technical, but just to paint it for you, we're looking at 1080 by 1440 pixels. And a feed post is a single static post. So this is great for general announcements. Like I'm just taking examples from your current social media on ALIA there. General announcements, branded graphics, and image posts, especially if you have engagement photos or activities that you've got with teams running. Just on a side note as well, we've also noticed when we're looking at Instagram analytics with how people consume social media this day and age, we find that there's always a higher engagement and a higher number of likes when it's actual pictures of people, as opposed to like graphics, like what we're seeing with posters here. Personally, ourselves for our social media, people tend to interact more if it's photos of your teams or any activity involving actual real human beings. So that's a little observation from our end. All right. The next format that Instagram also currently has is the carousels. Again, same dimensions, the 1080 by 1440 pixel by the 304. And what started as like a mini slideshow, they now have the capacity to support up to 20 slides in a post. So I highly recommend using carousels when you have educational content. As a design, I would say a design cardinal rule is to not overload too much in a single image. We always want to make sure that the eye focuses on the heading, typography, and simple information. And legibility is a huge thing as well. We always try to stay away if you do have a lot of content. So this is where the carousel comes into play. If it's, say, if you're introducing, you want to put in the next post about a 10-step program or 10-step tips for the community, I would highly recommend splitting it up into 10 separate graphics or images, and that way you don't try to cram in 10 steps into one single post as a visual image, if that makes sense. So it's great for educational content, step-by-step posts, like I mentioned, and event details. Yeah, so next format we'll look at stories. Everyone probably loves consuming this on the daily. Stories is a different format. It takes up the full phone screen at a 9:16 aspect ratio for short form video. This is best for quick updates, reminders, polls, and especially time sensitive content. Just a quick reminder that Instagram stories only last for 24 hours unless you put them in a highlight category on your page, but it only lasts 24 hours before it disappears from the feed. So that's why, especially with quick updates or building up hype to an event, like, hey, our little conference is coming up, blah, 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 register today. So those are little uses for stories. That's how we function with our stories as well. And finally, the next format is Reels. So Reels is a little similar to stories, except they stay on your grid. So they stay, so how stories stick to highlights, that's just a little tab above the profile grid, but Reels has its own dedicated little tab on the Instagram grid itself, also for short form video. So this is more for if you have video highlights or behind the scene content, or if you want to have a higher engagement in more dynamic storytelling. All right, cool. I hope that's not too overwhelming with everyone. Is that okay?
No, this has been really informative. Loving it.
Please let me know if it's overwhelming. I'm trying my best to not cram
Oh,
and scare everyone
we
off.
do have a question though. What do you mean by dynamic storytelling?
So dynamic storytelling in the sense that, say if you want to take your users on a journey, for example, if your conference is coming up and you want to tell them what's happening with the planning, blah, blah, blah. I guess dynamic in the sense that you can try to engage in the audience, like in your reels. What do you guys think? Share your comments, and then you're asking them to interact with the post and making comments so you can then interact. Do you know what I mean? It's more of a dynamic interaction, like you're opening up the post to invite engagement. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like so it's kind of like encouraging conversation and
Yes.
interaction.
Yes. So another way to put into it is using it as a form of a call to action. So
Mm,
whether it's like, what do you guys think? Mention something in the comment and we'll get back to you, or register today.
yeah,
Anything that sort of prompts the audience to engage with the content and
yeah.
consume.
So invite reels that invite interaction from the users.
Yep. And
Mm,
again, if you're not familiar with Instagram, the algorithm is all about engagement and interaction. The more
yeah.
clicks you have, the more comments you have, the posts that you publish maybe a week ago would stay on the top when people are
Hmm.
scrolling through. So it is a very brutal game in social media, to be honest. But if you're doing
Mm,
it right, and I think the key is consistency. If you're at
yeah,
least consistently posting on a regular basis, the algorithm picks up like, yep, you are presenting relevant information to your audience. You're saying all the right
mm,
things. Your keywords are all there. So you must be saying the right things. You're at the top of the search or like the results.
yeah.
It's sort of like how Google search works as well. So Google search results.
Mm,
All right, perfect. So
awesome. Thank you so much.
no, that's okay. Thank you so much. You do need to let me know actually because I'm
Mhm.
sharing my full screen. I can't see the chats.
Yeah,
Yep. So
I,
just in case if anyone
I'll,
else, I'm not ghosting or ignoring you.
yeah,
Just voice out.
I'll call out when there are questions.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, so now I want to take this little exercise with you. So we're gonna quickly look at Alia's Instagram itself. So this is a quick screenshot, and that's a mock-up, by the way. This is what I mean. Like I took a screenshot from my phone, uploaded it into Canva, and it puts it into this mobile mock-up. I love Canva. I am a strong Canva advocate through and through. So please forgive me if I'm actually overbearing with the Canva promotion. Okay, so quick look at Alia. If you can have a look at what it looks like on your phone as well, that would probably help you understand. So this is what I mean with this is how Instagram appears on my phone. So I'm not sure if it might be forced on anyone else, because I have had instances where some of my friends are still seeing the grids in squares. But as of like today, this is what we're looking at. The first thing we pick up on is that yes,
This looks very similar to what's on my phone right now.
yeah. So I also noticed that as of like whatever the latest post that you've posted out, I know a lot of the designs and graphics that went into it was specifically designed as a square, but because it's been forced into that portrait 3:4 aspect ratio, this is what happens. So if you want to look at the top right post of, I think, is it Luna Rue, that little character in the green background, immediately as a user I'm looking, it's like, oh, I don't know what's that information on the left and the right because it got cut off. If you're
Mm,
looking at, I know it's a little tiny, but if you look at the little screen and it says register now, unfortunately,
yeah.
because the square image has been forced into the 3:4 aspect ratio, the word register now is already cropped off. So just a quick, I guess, a little audit of suggestions that we might do to help improve the next coming post. We definitely would recommend moving to a 3:4 aspect ratio system. I'll show you a little
Mhm.
hack in a bit in our little demo. So what that means is that in all future posts, it'll be great if you can start designing like covers in portrait aspect ratio and avoid
Mhm.
cropping content by accident. In terms of standardizing covers, when we say covers, it's specifically for like maybe videos or carousels. Um, so if you can see in that example there, the videos are fine because you've got the users there, but there might be option where you might want to add in a title card to explain what the video is before people start playing it. And then slideshows as well, just less is more, we always say in design. Because if I'm
Mm,
looking at it first time, if you look at a little grid, even though we're seeing the first 6 posts, that's a lot of text and legibility is an issue right away. So the cropping is one issue, but because you've got so much information in just the one single image, it the eye is like, I don't know where to look at, there's just so much information. And because the posts are side by side, like it's an announcement next to an announcement next to an announcement and then another announcement, it feels very overwhelming to the eye, even though you're not like viewing it and tapping it yet. So that was the next point I was going to make, is branding balance. So we would also recommend planning ahead, um, and having a good mix of brand colors if you want, but definitely try and introduce a bit more white or what we call negative spaces. So you can break it out with like a
mm.
much simpler image, and then you have another full blown poster in the next, and then break it up with a simple photo. So just giving it a bit of breathing space. Right now, it does feel a bit overwhelming just from this little window. Another way that you could consider would maybe consider creating templates for categories. So if you ever have consistent pattern of what you'll be posting. So I'm not sure, just from the look of it, I can't tell, but in case you have a schedule of like, oh, we need to have an announcement once a month, or we need to publish a local community event once a week. If you have that recurring pattern, it's always great to schedule it ahead so you can space it out, and you can create separate templates. So if you have a specific template for events and webinars, or if you have specific templates for your mentoring stories or member stories, or specific templates for resources and updates and any ongoing promos. So that's a few little consideration. Not that just to be clear, I'm not trying to butcher the social media content that you've got right now, but it's just like
Yep.
first hand information that I'm trying to absorb as a first time user.
Mm.
Yeah. Great. Sorry. Okay.
All
Cool.
good.
Yeah.
It's all constructive criticism.
Yes, I'm really trying not to criticize, but it's more like, oh, just in case you're not aware of it, this is how I'm
Yeah,
consuming your information for my first time.
yeah.
So yes, please take it with a grain of salt. All right, beautiful.
Thank you.
Um, Quick hacks. So this is a little demo here that I want to run through with everyone. Again, if it might feel a bit too technical, please feel free to reach out to me after today's session. I'm more than happy. I'm actually keen to hear from you. If you want to have a little one-on-one session, I'm more than happy to run a complimentary, I wouldn't call it a crash course, but more of like a one-on-one session with anyone. And if I have enough interest, I might be able to run a group session just so we can
Mhm.
have this little session together. Okay, so I'm going to click into this. So it's going to take us out of the presentation and into Canva. So if you haven't seen Canva before, if this is the first time you're looking at, welcome to Canva. It might look a little overwhelming. I am on a really tiny 13-inch screen, so if you see this on a desktop, it's much more relaxing than what it appears with all the tabs here. So quick introduction with Canva. Um, this is where I say they've got heaps of templates. You simply have to search it and it comes up with all suggestions. There's
Huh.
elements that you can introduce, and they've categorized it so easily if you're adding shapes or graphics or
Yep.
animations and photos and things like that.
We've
And
just
yes,
quickly, we've got another question. If you're
yes.
using consistent templates for all your events, such as the same branding and colors,
Hmm.
should we be worried about it being boring for the user just because they want people to continuously click and stuff like that? Or is that not as much of an issue?
That's a very subjective question. Depending on what your current branding guidelines are, there are ways
Mm,
around it because obviously you don't want it to look too same. Like if it's just a white against white, like every few posts, I definitely suggest breaking it up if you want to do it slightly different. So when I say a template, it doesn't mean just the one style. In your template could be a family of 5 different styles in a template. So it could have a blue background, or in the next example it might have a little window for you to put in a picture. It's more about keeping it consistent but breaking it up enough, so it is quite
mhm,
important that you don't stick to just the one single template.
mm.
Build out a little family of templates. I might just do, okay, this was not on my bingo card today,
Sorry.
but no, that's okay. I want to do a quick check. So if we're gonna go, oh, actually I might go Instagram. So
She says thank you. The idea of the group of templates really
yes.
helped.
Absolutely. So again, so if you just search Instagram, pretend the Canva search is like a little Google search there. When you look things up, it comes up with all of these search results and suggestions. Obviously, when you see this little account, it means that it's a premium account uh,
Mm-hmm,
level. But if you look at see how it says 1 of 6. So that's a great example because in this collection of a family of templates, there's 6 variations that you can break it into. So you don't necessarily always have to use the first version right away. In the next post, it could be the second version. So as long as it's like a collective, similar branded look and feel, you're good with spreading it. So it's a matter of getting a selection. So for example, this 1 out of 5. So it's got different styles, or maybe that's not the best. Sorry, bear with me. Let me
mm-hmm.
find another more visual post. How about this one here? It's just a single one. But yeah, if you want to have a play around Canva, um, I'm not gonna go through 1.6 million templates right now, but you get the
Understandable.
yes, there is a collective branded family of
Mm,
templates that you can work your way through with your posts.
mm,
All right, perfect. So coming back to a little exercise. Okay,
mhm,
so like I mentioned, Canva is amazing this day and age because they have everything pre-designed and pre-template wise in terms of shapes and dimensions. So you don't have to manually add in the shape. If you search it up Instagram, it will come up with
mhm,
the dimension right away, and it spits out it starts off with like, would you like to use a template or start from scratch? So we're going to start from scratch from this part. So the point that I wanted to make is, this is, pretend that this is the shape of your next post that we need to move into the
mhm,
typo aspect ratio. um there is an option to actually turn on, by default it isn't show, but what I've done is I've turned on the show margins, and this is what you're looking at with that invisible line there, if you can see where I'm clicking.
mhm,
Yep. So pretend that you're about to post and create a post for Instagram in this aspect ratio. This little margin that we have here is a great guideline to make sure that whatever content, specifically, especially with text and heading, you want to try to make it within this square, this little invisible realm, because it's always good to have some breathing space between where the content is and the edge of what the image is, because it's very hard legibility wise, even for websites as well. You don't like seeing, like, if your text starts at the very edge of it, it might be hard to read from the grid. So this, I would consider is a safe space. The other really quick hack that I love using and just advocating with my clients is adding a square graphic. Now this, I'm gonna stretch this out a little bit just so it goes edge to edge. And you can put in a little square graphic there and you move it into that. So you see how it's got the crosshair in the middle? That tells you that it's centered smack in the middle of everything from every edge that the square is in the right position. So pretending that this is an invisible safe space as well. So it's two layers that you're looking at. The margin where you want the text to come through with that first margin, and this square is pretending if in case your post or image or graphic gets cropped out, this is the safe space to make sure that all the important information lives inside the square. So I'm gonna show you the next one that makes more sense. So taking this into account, okay? So this post I've taken from your Instagram originally was designed as a square, if you can see the outside realm of this image there. But because I have taken into consideration, oh, it's gonna get forced into this grid, I've sort of like repositioned the image just so like it's smack in the middle. So in the event that it does get cropped out, this is your little safe space. So knowing that when you post it, if it does get cropped, all of the important information lives within that square. So join us for National Simultaneous Storytime, May, blah, 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 Lunaru, there. So the only caveat to that is if you're willing to sacrifice whatever that might get cropped out in the background. So where you've got the story box hub at the top, there is a potential that might get cropped out, but the critical important information is all living in that little square. Um, Another example that I can put into practice. So, like I mentioned, if you have graphics that's already beautifully designed in a square and you don't want to have to spend time to redo it or get another artist or designer to redo it for you, another way to introduce it and still retain it in the square is literally putting the square into the aspect ratio of that. So this is actually just a cutout of what the original image was. And then if I put in a square, that little pretend square that's a safe space, this is what it might look like if it does get cropped. So it's still safe to say that if you're posting this image, we're still in the good. When you're posting it out on your Instagram, people can still read from Edge National, Simultaneous Storytime 2026. Like all the important information is living in that little square space there. Another example is I made a little mock-up. Obviously, it's not an actual post. If you're creating a post and say it's an event, and this is pretending it's a carousel, that's why it's got a little arrow as well. So that might be a good start. So making sure all your information lives within that first level or layer of the grid, the margin, and then introducing a square, a little pretend square in there to make sure if it does get cropped, all the information is still living in that little square. So to put it more plainly, pretending that we're posting what we just practiced there. So if we're forcing this new design, and this is where I'm saying with introducing a bit more negative space, it's a bit of a nice break. So you've got the video, one post, and then the event. And if it's a repeat of a pattern, you don't have to follow a very specific pattern. It's not really mandatory that you have to be like, oh, video and then post and then carousel. But if you do have the opportunity to pre-plan that far in advance, it does help with the aesthetic overall, and it breaks up a little bit. And this is how we might pretend if your users consuming it for the first time, as opposed to the first version of what the current ALIA social media looks like. So yeah, does that make sense to you guys? Hopefully.
Yes, it does.
All right.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so it's just one of the quick ways of hacking it, because obviously social media as a marketing tool, agencies run actual businesses on it, so they spend and
Yeah.
invest more time in actually creating the content and making sure it's getting the engagement and all that. But for something that you can take home today, it's definitely just
Mm.
pretending you've got that
Every, yeah,
imaginary.
everyone's been loving that square hack.
Yes, that square hack is the best, because it's like, just imagine all the important information just lives in that little square box, and you're making sure that
Mm.
legibility is not an issue. Making sure that your font sizes as well in your posts are not too small. So again,
Yeah.
don't stress about putting too much information in the visual. The visual is meant to capture the eye. It's like, oh, what's this about? It's a book cover. I want to look at it. You have the opportunity to expand more in the caption itself. So don't forget the caption or even the carousel. That's where you dump in all the other secondary information. The
Mm.
first cover is what captures the eye. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, that's just my takeaway on that. Um,
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
no problem. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next one. So, From there, here is the exciting bit about free tools and resources. So even when you're on the free account for Canva, you immediately have access to the design school. It's just literally canva.com/design-school. Or even if you just search Canva Design School, it is a great resource hub. It's got free courses and free tutorial videos for anyone and everyone to look at. Even if you're beginning with Canva for the first time, it teaches you what they have and how to use their tools. Um, Again, great start and resource to have. And it's already readily available on a free account. So give it a go. Again, don't be too overwhelmed. Canva was overwhelming to me because personally, I'm not an Adobe user myself. But Canva has helped me build confidence in designing more creatively. You don't necessarily always have to start with a template. It's always great to try with a blank canvas and see what you can pull out of all the tools they have. So I always encourage everyone to just give Canva a go. Okay, so the next tool and resource is Unsplash. Unsplash.com is a great stock image library. So when I say a great stock image library, what I mean is high quality but free, which is great, which is amazing. These are amazing, aesthetically beautiful photos taken by actual professional photographers. They contribute to this open source library. So if you look up anything and search it, you will see what I mean with the images that they come up with. It's not the typical stocky where if you search on Google and it say, oh, you want to search business meeting and it's just two hands, two people like awkwardly staging a handshake. That will be the version of a stock image that I used to have until we discovered Unsplash. And then you do up a search and it's like, wow, that's a really great photo. So a great resource if you are out of stock images to look for. Another good hub is also Pexels, similar to Unsplash. So in case if ever you can't find the image that you like on Unsplash, come to Pexels. They are equally as good as well. I don't think there's a crossover. Like a lot of the photos, they seem to have separate collections. So it might be great to just dabble in both as well, to just try and find and source images for yourself. Coolors, and that's specifically spelled as cool in colors, is a color palette generator. If you ever need inspiration on colors, you're like, oh crap, I have this blue, but I don't know what to match it with. This is a great generator. They also provide, so if you literally search I blue, and it'll come out, it'll spit out few options of what the blue shades could look like and what complementary colors that works with it. It's a very visual tool, again, very easy drag and drop. And the best thing is that, specifically if you're using Canva, they will produce and give you information on the exact color code. So if you've picked out a nice shade in this generator, you just have to copy and paste that color code and feed it into Canva, and it will look exactly the same. So coolest is cool, pun intended. Another resource is the Noun Project. Noun Project also is a great stock image library, but we mostly recommend this for iconography. So if you need icons or graphics, they also have them in specific packs and collections. Again, this is a cardinal rule with design. If you're picking out, say, a specific arrow icon, we always recommend to pick out the whole entire family, like a whole album. So if ever you need like another icon to go with it, at least it looks like they come from the same collection. Because the last thing we do, not well, we don't want to do is if you're selecting one style and you're introducing a secondary style, it looks like it's disjointed. So try to keep it in the family in a good way. Yeah, so that is pretty much it for the technical side of it. If anyone has any questions, it might help if I might just stop sharing my screen right now.
Yeah.
Ooh, how do I do that? Sorry.
Oh, all good.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Yes.
Just thank you. That's really, really interesting. So, when you said less was more, especially with the Instagram posts, when it comes to the carousel, what like are must-haves on that first carousel post before moving on to
The next
the,
post.
yeah.
Visuals if you can. Depending on, again, without diving too much into it, it's the heading, it's the title. So if you can give right off the bat your audience what this post is about. So a great example, if
Mm,
you look at, if they have like blogs like when it's introducing restaurants, or it's like Brisbane's top 10 restaurants, like that is the first post, and the
mm,
next thing you're gonna do is start swiping in to see what those 10 restaurants are. So that's a great example. It's just capturing
mm.
the essence of what that content is going to be about. Um, it's called a hook, a little
Yeah.
industry, like if you have a engaging title. But yeah, I think food blogs are probably the best example when it says Brisbane's top cafes 2026, and then you start scrolling,
Mm,
like immediately a user behavior would be like, oh, what is that? I'm gonna start swiping through the carousel. So yeah, that
yeah.
that would be one. um Text alone, again, this is more of a trial and error. It's very hard to say what's there is no right or wrong. It's more of a
Mm,
matter of learning about how your audience absorbs and consumes your content. um
mm.
uh Visuals, again, like I mentioned, photos always work better than pure graphics alone. But then obviously, because you've got such beautiful like book covers and illustrations and all that, that is great content as well. So yes, there's no right or wrong. The algorithm changes every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just more consistency and getting information out there, I guess.
Awesome. Thank you. And everyone's saying thank you for the free resources because a lot of them
Yes.
didn't know what these existed. I
Yes.
myself am one of them, and I am already enjoying the coolers.
Are you playing with it? It's amazing.
Yes,
It's a
I'm
great tool.
playing with it now, and I'm just like, pretty colors.
And the fact that it's interactive as well, that you can just drag one color. If you see one color in the end, I was like, I want to
Mm,
see what it looks like next to this color. So if you just click in and drag
yeah.
it, and then it changes it. I
It's
also wanted to let you know, Ashley, I'll share the PDF
mhm.
after the meeting today, so you can
Yeah,
distribute it to everyone. All
yeah,
the
that'd be great.
PDF would be clickable, but let me know if
Mhm.
you have any issues with it. But you should
Oh,
also have. I'm also going to share that access to the Canva free template that will the image
awesome. Thank you so much.
that.
Yeah, a few of us are already playing with it.
Beautiful. If you haven't got a Canva account, please get it
Mm,
today. Like there's no harm in trying. There's no right
mm,
or wrong, and I feel like Canva is such a beautiful inspiration to
mm.
just style.
I've been fiddling with Canva myself the last couple of months, so I'm excited to try some of the tips.
Absolutely. And if any of you need any tips, or if you're
Mhm.
ever in Brisbane in Fortitude Valley, come in and say hello. More than happy
Definitely.
to meet with any of you. And I hope today's session has been helpful.
Yeah. Oh, we do have a question.
Yes.
What are some do nots when it comes to social media graphics?
Ooh, do not overwhelm content. Just cramming as much text. I think text and legibility is a huge gray area. Well, it's not gray area. It's like, how do I say this? Legibility is a big issue. When it
Mm,
comes to, if it's just purely a graphic and it's a photo, that's fine. But when it comes to like creating announcements and covers, you have to remember people are consuming that image on a phone. So legibility, not necessarily have to worry about it in the grid itself, because obviously the grid itself will look tiny, but when you're actually
mm,
consuming and seeing that in a phone screen, you need to make sure font sizes are legible. I don't remember what the recommended font sizes are, but for body copy, if you're putting a heading, it can go as big as you want, but body copy, I wouldn't recommend anything below 20 pixels, if that makes sense.
mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just, I think, again with the font choices, that might also affect how legibility is. Um, if ever you do want to create new posts, if you
Mm,
do have an existing brand guideline, so that's sort of a style guide, I would say stick to it as best as possible.
yeah.
Another thing I just thought of as well is this is a good tip as well. So we also observe that if you are going to pick a template from Canva to start playing around with, try to stick
Mm,
closely to what has already been set in the template. So for example, if that
mm,
template comes with this particular color shade and this particular font and this particular body copy font, try to stick to it if you can, because there's already been thought put into that design. So that color
yeah.
is specifically with that font and that body copy font. So that's why it looks good to you. Because once you start fiddling and trying to customize it too far away to what it originally looked like in the template,
Mm,
then it starts to feel a bit disjointed. So
yeah.
try to keep as closely to the templates that you're picking out, and then you should be good.
Yeah. Thank you. Um, Actually, a good question. When it comes to videos, what are some quick tips and tricks
Oh,
you would
okay.
give?
Um, obviously with stories when you're filming on the phone, it has to be in the portrait mode. You also need to remember to keep your subject in the center unless they're meant to be in the background and that's not the focus. But for example, if you're interviewing people and you want to post it as a story or even as a reel, actually, um, beware with composition. You don't want to be the person like if you're filming and they're at the top of the screen and there's little space with where the head is. So just beware
Yeah,
of composition and always remember, even for posts as well, if there's a probability of it getting cropped out. So you don't want
yeah.
to be posting it and then someone's like the video's like just a mouth talking like that. So just position them, trying to keep everything centered and focused is a great tip for videos.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We also have a question. Would you have some examples of Instagram accounts that are doing these things very well?
Oh, that's very hard. I'm just gonna scroll on my
Oh, go
Instagram.
ahead.
That is a great idea. Um, in your industry specifically, or just
In
anyone?
general, so we can get an idea of what to look at.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Again, I'm a foodie myself, so
Oh,
a lot of influencers that I follow are food
girl
influencers.
after my own heart.
But let me see. I think Urban List is a good one if
Yeah.
anyone's familiar with Urban List, and I think
Mm-hmm.
there's Urban List with like every state. Hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So have a look at Urban List. It's a good start. Because Urban List has a high number of followers and they're constantly putting out blogs and they're great with um, carousels. So actually,
Yeah.
like, every single post seems to be a carousel
Yeah.
at this point. But yeah, see how they use visuals to capture. Obviously, they have a higher rate of engagement because their visuals are like celebrities, and you would obviously. I was like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's a famous person. I will click that. What's another one? If you're looking at a design type, let me just. Oh, you're really putting me on the spot here, actually.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm like, oh, I better look cool to these guys. Let me not pick.
Oh, you're doing more than enough.
Um,
We think you're very cool.
thank you guys. That has made my day. And for the record, it's actually my birthday today, so that's why
Oh, happy birthday!
I was extra nervous today. I was like, oh my god, I cannot fumble this on my birthday. Um,
Understandable. Mm.
uh,
Uh,
uh, I don't. Okay, this is a random one. If you want to look up
yeah.
Society,
Mhm.
Sheet Society is in bed sheets.
Uh,
They literally sell bed sheets, but their socials are so beautiful. So if you scroll through it, if everyone's got their phone on them, look at
yeah.
Sheet Society, and just look at that.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's like beautiful visuals. You've got a good spread of like graphics in between and there's like
Mhm.
templates and there's so even from top to bottom they might not have like a specific color template because obviously they're selling products and every product comes in seasons like fashion, so like you're looking at this season's collection and that color spread is like a beautiful shade coming down and then it blends into the previous season's color.
Yeah.
So that's also a beautiful way of doing that. um, this is what I mean by if I'm gonna share this. If you look
Yeah.
at the post where it says the ritual,
Yeah.
so that here, if you look at this post, that is a cover of a video. So it's not necessarily the first shot of the video, because if you hit
Mhm.
tap, so that's just a cover of what the title is. So it says the ritual.
Yeah.
If we tap it, the video starts, and that's not
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
the video plays after the cover appears. So that's what I
Mhm.
mean by creating a cover for the video. So that's your opportunity. Even though you don't have graphics within the video playing, you can
Mhm.
create that title heading as the cover. So that gives people right off the bat what that video is about to play.
Yeah.
So yes,
Um,
I hope
yeah.
that's been
Yeah.
helpful.
No, that was really, really good. Thank you. We also have another question.
Yeah.
What type of content in Reels and carousels do you find that gets the most engagement? And are there any strategies that are good for prompting users to engage with posts
Oh,
um,
yeah.
when it might be a bit more difficult? Because I know a few libraries are having difficulty
Mhm.
getting that engagement.
Could you expand a bit more, actually, maybe from your experience? What sort of like engagement do you think that like
Um,
local libraries
I,
are struggling with? Is
I
that
know
events?
I know that a lot of people work with trying to engagement in general, but also try and hit marketing just in like our programs
Mm.
and our collections, especially when we've got a special collection coming through or have like an event like Library Lovers Week or Information Week and stuff like that. We have a little trouble getting some engagement in those types of things. Our family-centered content, like simultaneous story time, I know does very well, but our more generalized content sometimes doesn't do as well.
This would more
Mm.
live in David's realm with actual engaging
Yeah.
with that. But from my perspective, and this is just again take this with a grain of salt because it's not my
Yeah.
forte. Just as a user, a general user and consumer myself, it usually helps if you're trying to engage, it's to have a hook.
Mm.
So, for example, if you're giving them value and saying, "Oh, did you know that?" Blah blah blah. You spit out a fact, or again, this is just an example. And at the end of your
Mm.
caption, say, "Let us know what you think. Share something in the comments, or send us a DM, or comment register now and we'll send you a link." So anything that could sort of like, it's more of a call to action. You
Yeah.
always want to end your caption with a call to action. Like, it's one thing to deliver value out there and share information,
Mhm.
but it's another to try and prompt the user to do something and action.
Yeah.
One thing that you could do is probably include a call to action in the visuals. So even if they
Mm.
don't read the whole caption, in the visual itself, in the social media post, you could have a little pretend button. Obviously, it's not going to be
Mm.
clickable, but you could say sign up today or pretend it's like a clickable website type button.
Mhm.
So even like psychologically looking at it, I know I can't tap it and sign up, but I know that, oh, I can actually sign up to this program. This thing is open to registrations, and you'll have that thinking like I'm actually gonna go and visit the website now and do something about it.
Okay.
So yes,
Awesome.
it's a lot of thought. Unfortunately, it's very subjective because it's a lot of thought put into like what would be the call to action. Because it's one thing to just put in a book now, like that's a
Yeah.
very general, but then it's the copywriting again.
Mm.
I'm sure you would understand is what text
Yes.
would capture your interest and imagination.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm not sure. Yep, that seems to be all the questions we have in chat at the moment. Unless there's anyone who would like to ask anything, you can come off mute and ask if you'd like. You're more than welcome to. Uh, if not, I think we're good. We might give everyone a couple of. But we wanted to say thank you again to you, Hazel, and to everyone for at Link Media for helping us and partnering with us for this wonderful workshop.
Thank you for having me, everyone. Oh, thank you for the birthday wishes as well. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, it's also not part of the plan. I was not meant to
Oh,
announce. All right.
yep.
Thank you guys.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Again, I welcome anyone to reach out. My personal email, if you want to reach out to me, is
Yeah.
hazel@com.au. I'll share that information. Well, actually has my information, so I'm
Yeah.
happy to distribute that any way you want.
Wonderful. Will do. I'll make sure ALIA National sends that out with the link. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Hazel. It was fabulous.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Thank you
Hazel.
so much.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye and have a great birthday.
Thank you.